Hello and welcome to Kerbal. Normally I start out with the stock version of a plane and then move on to a modded version, but in this case I'm starting off with the BD Armory version. This is an F-104S Starfighter. As you can see here, BD2, it's the BD Armory version, and it's the second revision, because the first version, I didn't think about the fact that I could move these wings into the fuselage to make the wings shorter, and I was kind of frustrated because I couldn't get the wings of the Starfighter correct. Because the F-104 Starfighter has very, very stubby wings, tiny little things. It's basically a stick with a couple of wings and then giant tail fin that is basically almost the size of the wings. Not really, but it's quite dramatic compared to most aircraft. As you can see, we have a little gun here I'm pretty sure that's about accurately placed. Maybe I should, yeah, that's about right. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look at another image. I don't care right now. I've spent enough time working on this replica. This is based on the, like I said, the F-104S, which means that it has 9 pylons for mounting weapons. As you can see, I have some, sidewinders under the fuselage here. I have some AIM 120, what do they call these again? AMRAAMs. Yes, AMRAAMs, which are the radar lock missiles on the wings. And you can see I have the radar from BD Armory on the front. And I have some custom-made fuel drop tanks on the wings, which I think I did an alright job trying to get the drop tank right. It's the right placement, the right size. Doesn't look as good as it could, but I think overall it's alright. Oh yes, the wing, if I remember correctly, yes, the nose. This bit here, that's not realistic to a Starfighter, but I decided I would have that to make this able to go higher up like it should. I think this looks better and is worth the fact that it's not quite right. If I remove that, I'd have to bring this down and I'd have to angle it slightly weird, and it would get kind of just not quite right. Another interesting fact about this, if you look very closely, you might notice there is a subtle curve on the fuselage going back. This fuel tank here and this fuel tank here are rotated very, very slightly. And if you look at the F-104, you'll see that it does the same kind of thing. Okay, so that's enough time talking about it for the moment. Let's do a bit of a demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and set myself to Team B. I'm going to get my radar warning receiver online. Although, let me tell you, the targets I'm going after have already been attacked and damaged, so the radar warning receiver will just let me know when I'm being pinged by radar. There actually is no threat of a surface-to-air missile launch at this time. As you can see, we take off pretty quickly, pretty easily. It's you have to be a little bit careful with landing and taking off with this thing, partially because you have to do it at a higher speed, partially because of the landing gear placement means it's very easy to accidentally strike the tail. Anyhow, there's not really a point in me activating the radar because because we're going against ground targets. Now, you might have noticed a fatal flaw with this plan. I have air-to-air missiles. Every missile on this thing is air-to-air, including the fact that these are radar locked. Even if they weren't designed for air-to-air combat, they require radar lock, which doesn't work against ground targets. So, which I think I kind of said things that were slightly backwards there, because all air attack things are radar. Whatever. No, not, you know what? I'm completely losing my track of what I'm trying to think and say at the same time. I'm brain dumbing. Anyhow, this is designed to go very, very fast. It is based off the F-104. The F-104 was designed to go very, very fast. The F-104 can go to, what is it, like Mach 2.2, I believe it is? It's designed to be a interceptor. It's designed to go very fast, target a bomber, take it out, and then return to base. That's basically what an interceptor is. Of course, what I'm doing right now is I'm attacking ground targets. Like I said, I'm attacking ground targets with, with air weapons, which means it's not going to be very effective. But the primary reason I'm doing this is because it's fun. So here we are going to use heat seekers because that's the only thing we can use against these ground targets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in very fast, low, and I'm going to try to take out one target as I blow past. I'll probably fail, but, you know, I'm going to try. Okay, yeah, we're going into loading range now. You can see the game freezing up a little bit. Whoa. Yes, this version has roll responsiveness that I don't particularly like because of how I had to change things to make this version work. Anyhow, here we are. I'm going to try and lock on this Vulcan tank because that is the biggest threat to my plane right now. I don't think I'm going to get a lock on it before it's too late. In fact, I'm going to have to pull up and not lock it at all because the terrain's getting in the way. It's going to shoot at me, and I need to get out of here before it can shoot at me. And if I go to the exterior view, it doesn't look like it's actually shot at me. I think I went by so fast that it didn't get a chance to get a really good lock, and I'm now out of range of where it would like to attack me. So what I'm going to do now is pull a very hard turn and come back at it again. As you can see, that pulls a lot of G's, but this thing can take it. I need to install that GFX mod again so that my pilots can't take it. Also, you can notice the wing is actually separating a little bit from how hard I'm pulling this turn. Alright, so we're going to come back in again. And this time, like I said, we're just going to... Whoa, shit, I forgot. Yeah, the roll controls on this are not the best, unfortunately. I have another version of this I will show you where the roll controls are better, but it's less accurate. We're being shot at from that one already. And it's probably going to start shooting at us too. Come on, fire. And let's pull up. Okay, we don't know if that was a hit or not, because unfortunately we couldn't see it. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, it was a hit! Now that's extremely lucky, because Sidewinders, the way they maneuver and stuff, they're good against air targets, but they're not very good against ground targets. So that was actually a very lucky hit. Alright, let's go ahead and maneuver to the next target. Now, the only other thing here on this base that can actually try to attack me is that truck. You noticed it firing at me? Yes. That truck can attack, but nothing else on this base can. So we're going to try to lock onto it, and not the SAM. We got to be careful, though, because anything inside this circle will try to lock. And so you can see it right now, it would try to lock the SAM. Okay, let's try and get... Okay, I think that's good. Oh, no, it's locked onto the SAM. Oh, well, fire. And you can see the Sidewinder winding around and then hitting. Although, I think... It was a close hit, but I don't think it was a hit. Also, that truck didn't actually fire at us that time. I wonder if it has kind of a thing where it won't even try to attack you if you're going too fast. We're on to our last Sidewinder right now. So, if I don't take it out with this mission is a failure. But, honestly, I was expecting to be shot down. I did this a couple of times earlier, just messing around to see how it would go, and every time I was shot down. So, honestly, I'm surprised I'm still here. But, oh. Okay, yawing. Yawing isn't the best, but here we go. Okay. Gotta try and line up the target. See if we can lock. We've locked onto the SAM again. Oh, it's behind the hill here. That's why. Alright, it might try to fire at us, it might not. Yeah, it's not even trying to fire at us. Okay. Let's come in from this angle again. But hopefully from an angle that means we're less likely to lock onto the SAM. Alright. I'm gonna go out this way for a bit. And then I'm gonna come back. Of course, this is a heat-seeking lock. So I wonder if the SAM is just a lot hotter than the truck. It's entirely possible. Alright, let's... Okay, we're lined up pretty well. Whoop. Alright. Come on. Okay, fired. Pulling up. Watching it hit. It was close, but still, again, not a direct hit. And we have failed. These are also out, so let's go ahead and drop those. Very nice. So anyhow, the F-104, it's an interceptor, like I said. That means it's designed to go high and fast, and also long range. Now, the real thing, I believe, doesn't have a very long range. However, this version that I've made here, let's take a look at that. Okay, I just was curious where my targeting reticule was, because I actually haven't used the guns on it before. This thing, you can see here, this is a mod, what is this one called? It's like alternate resource panel or enhanced resource panel, something like that. And it allows you to show time remaining instead of just the amount of resources and consumption. So you can see the fuel usage, as I'm going higher, the fuel usage is actually going up, so that my time remaining is actually dropping quite a bit. But as I go higher, of course it's going to take a little while, as I go higher, the fuel usage will, now you can see it's going up again, the time remaining is going up. That's because the fuel usage is going down. I'm slowing down quite a bit, but that's because I'm in a steep climb. Actually, I'm not slowing down that much, but I'm in a steep climb to get higher altitude, because higher altitude means higher speed, and higher speed means you can go further. Also, I'll get fuel reduction in usage once I get higher. You can see, set 0.72, you can see my fuel use is reducing even further. The time remaining is going up, and we're still burning on both engines right now. The thing is, this actually has... Let me switch that off. this plane actually has two engines glitched into each other to give us high speed and better performance. We have a basic jet and a turbojet. I'm going to need to pitch down, by the way, at this point, because we're getting pretty high up. And you can see the time remaining is still going up. Now it's going down a bit, and that's something to do with how we're now moving slower or how we're moving faster. I'm not really sure, but just you can watch this time fluctuates quite a bit. But as we go this way, we're going to pick up speed, still gaining altitude, but really right now I'm more interested in picking up speed. So I'm going to go ahead and let myself lose altitude to gain speed. And once we get over 400 meters per second, I can switch off the basic jet and fly on just the turbojet, because the turbojet alone will give us all the speed we need. As you can see, I just turned off the engine, and we're not even slowing down. In fact, we're going faster. Well, yes, going faster and faster. And you can see the time remaining is going down again, and that's because we're in this kind of transition phase where we're trying to gain speed. And I'm also going to go ahead and pull us up, because we do need to get higher. Of course, higher means we can go faster, and it also, I think it also reduces fuel usage. Well, it doesn't reduce fuel usage, but it makes the engine run slower, which then reduces the fuel usage. Even though you're using more fuel per unit of thrust or something like that, because you're at a higher altitude and using less engine thrust, I don't know exactly how it works out, but you can see the time remaining is going up again, and we're at a pretty low altitude still. This thing goes up to 20,000 quite comfortably. At least it does without armaments. I actually haven't tried it with armaments on it. I know that it can only go to about 16,000 to 17,000 when it has the drop tanks on board, so you do have to fly a little lower than you otherwise would. But as you can see, we're gaining altitude pretty quickly here. Time remaining is going up, and this is after we've gone through a combat run too, so we've already used a, not a substantial amount of fuel, but a decent amount just in that combat run. Oh, and we are now, we've now gone a bit too high. We're, well, actually, we haven't gone a bit too high just yet, but we are in the progress of going a bit too high. So you can see I've pitched down a bit, and you see the time remaining is still going up. We've got about an hour and 30 minutes if we can maintain this altitude. Of course, we can't maintain this altitude. We're going to fall back a bit. But basically, you can oscillate between 20,000 feet, or 20,000 meters, rather, excuse me, oscillating between 20,000 meters and 21,000 meters and going around 700 meters per second. This thing can fly for a pretty long time on just its internal tanks, and you can get, as you can see, we've already gotten pretty darn far, even though we haven't even gotten into our optimal flight pattern yet, which we're just about in our optimal flight pattern now, although we are falling a bit more than I would like to be. And you can see we're gaining speed still, but I can pull up a bit. We'll lose a little bit of speed, but we want the altitude, because the altitude gives us more fuel efficiency. So it's more important to have a higher altitude than to have a higher speed in this case. And the differences in speed are pretty minor. You can see the time remaining is going down. That's because we're dropping still. But if I pitch up a bit more and pull us up, now we're going up again. Yeah, it takes a little practice to get this just right. As you can see, I've oscillated too much. I've fallen down to 18,000 almost, and then now I'm rising back up, and you know. But yeah, this thing can fly quite a distance and take out whatever. So you can see I'm very happy with it. So let me go on to the differences. So you can see our roll is on these outer elevons, or yes, elevons. They're called elevons, but we're using them as ailerons. The outer ones are our roll, and that leads to the roll having, it's a pretty quick response, but it also locks up. So, like, not locks up, but it's slow to go back to normal. So full roll, and I've stopped, and now it's stopped. So you can see I've done almost 360 degrees roll just trying to stop rolling. So it makes it more difficult to fly. That's why I don't like it as much. Let me go ahead and revert this flight after pulling up really hard just to show you that I can. So you can see I lost a lot of speed there. Not a lot, but a pretty decent amount. I'm actually just gonna pull up as hard as I can right now, lose a lot of speed, but pull up and go into a zoom climb just because I can, and then I'm going to revert and show you the other version of this, which is essentially the same thing, but with the wings sticking out a bit more. Another thing this lacks that the real thing has is air brakes, and that's because I can't make a good looking air brake that looks like the air brakes that it actually has. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to climb up higher and higher. Now you can see we're reducing speed quite a bit now. This is the part where, even though we're getting more fuel efficiency, the loss in speed means it's not worth it, especially because I believe, I'm not sure, but I think it's impossible or very difficult to maintain steady flight at this altitude with this plane. So you can bring it into a zoom climb and go up to this high, but you don't generally want to stay at that altitude. And I'm going to go ahead and, just because I can, pull down really hard. And I rolled it a bit too much. Yes, the roll is a bit difficult to control in this version. As you can see, we've actually dropped below 400 meters per second, which means we need to enable the basic jet engine. You can see we're still losing speed, and it's because we're doing this very hard maneuver in thin air. So we're trying as hard as we can to turn around, basically. Doing a loop-de-loop. Losing a lot of altitude, just falling out of the sky, basically, at this point. Let's go ahead and, just for the fun of it, jettison a missile. Oh, it's... Ha! Ha ha! We're falling faster than the missile we dropped. Oh my god, that's great. Yeah, be careful with dropping your missiles. Look at that. Bye-bye, missile. That's funny. Let's drop another one. Oh, that one just... Because now we're speeding up again. That one just dropped behind us. And, because why not? Let's go ahead and just fire a couple more because, you know, we have them. Might as well. Oh, I didn't quite click it right. There we go. And... Lovely. Okay, now for the original version of this. As you can see, we're now on a stock plane. The front landing gear is forward, and the wings are bigger because they're pulled out. Also, they clip slightly in here, but I try to ignore that because... but it's difficult to get it right. So other than the slight visual differences in how it's shaped, this one, I believe, well, I don't know if that's a feature or if that was just I got lucky there, but I took off at a lower speed. But that actually probably has something to do with the armaments and pylons. Oh yes, I was going to say, so this one, you can see the roll is based on these center elevons. And that makes the roll, at least in my experience, a bit easier to control. I can just turn to where I want to, and then stop, and then go, and then I can just turn, and stop, and go, you know. It makes it easier to fly, in my opinion. And of course, I have an armed BD version of this as well. But, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take the time to make a ground attack version of this, and then I'm going to go try to take out those things over there properly with a ground attack, a ground strike type deal. Okay, so this is the version that I've designed for the ground attack. The first thing I want to point out is that I fixed the pylons, because I noticed the pylons were actually relative to the wing when they should have been straight up and down. You might have noticed the wings, they do have a slight downward angle to them. That's a feature of the actual Starfighter. Of course, the actual Starfighter, I believe they also are more down angled than this, but I'm not going to fix that, even though I could, because of how beautifully this flies without me doing that. Also, you might notice this is the version with stubbier wings. I'm going to try and use that version from now on because it is more accurate. And, okay, so here we go. We have a laser targeter. We have 3 GPS guided bombs, which I will basically try to use the laser targeter to designate targets, send them to GPS coordinates, and then drop these. And so basically I want to do one flyby where I lock up to 3 targets for GPS bombing, and then I get out of the way, and then I want to come back and finish off what's left with these Hellfire missiles. As you can see, I also have 3 Sidewinders in case I come across any air attack, which, yes, I will, because I'm actually going to beef up their defenses before I fly this. But actually, now that I think about it, sorry, you're gonna have to wait till next time, because I'm gonna do another combat episode where I will use this to attack the KSC from the island runway. We also need to rescue that Kerbal that's still stranded out there, but I need to come up with a rescue craft for that. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in space. I almost said see you in base. Yeah, that was smart of me.